Amy Neely, and I'm here today with John Hill, a YouTube influencer, and we're here to talk a little bit more and get to know one another. How you doing?
Let's do it. I'm good.
Good.
Yeah.
So walk me through your career as a skateboarder, an illustrator, and how you grew your audience to where you are today.
Well, I basically spent a long time doing each part.
Okay.
So I skateboarded since I was 10 years old. And then by the time I was 22-ish, I moved to California. I did the whole skateboard grind, just basically kind of the starving artist lifestyle. It's the same thing. It's just another creative pursuit, really.
Yep.
So it was really fun. I just skated for a long time. And then all of a sudden, YouTube kind of fell organically into play because I had a lot of friends who would utilize YouTube for skateboarding, which I never even considered or thought about.
Yeah.
But once I saw that they were basically creating their own industries within skateboarding, I was like, I can do that.
Okay.
So, and I had a camera, and I've actually been making skate videos since I was 15 years old.
Okay.
Just like some off-brand skate videos for my school. We'd create DVDs, but then YouTube was just this perfect platform, and everything hit at once where I was finding a lot of content on YouTube that was really appealing to me. So I was like, I'm gonna use this kind of content to make skateboard content and push it out in that way. And it sort of worked out, and I've been doing YouTube for 4 years now almost.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's been my career, so.
Awesome. So I believe you Find Your Influence through your friend Timmy Ham, is that right?
I did, yeah, Timmy Ham.
Okay, so how did you connect with Timmy?
So Timmy's just, once I got into YouTube, that just became my sphere, and the people I was meeting was basically through this platform. And then I met my girlfriend, Sarah Dici, who was a big YouTuber as well, but she had all these friends, and she was like, I gotta connect you with Timmy, with this person, this person. So she knew Timmy through just the grapevines of creative YouTube. So Timmy was just in the room one day, we met, we got along really well. And then after that, he's been just looking out for me ever since. So he's been like, dude, I'm on this new management agency, and you have to check it out. And the dude who runs it is amazing. I didn't believe him, met the guy, and he was lying. He's terrible. No, he's the best person ever. So we've been getting along ever since, and yeah, it's been great.
So what does management allow you to do differently than what you maybe were tied down to doing before?
Mainly delegating emails from brands.
Okay.
That is the most difficult part ever. For someone who does this, and there's a lot of missed opportunity in this sphere for anyone who grows at all, especially to a certain point. And luckily, I was getting a lot of asks, but I also didn't know how to talk about pricing, and that there were deals that I would take for practically nothing just because I didn't know how to talk or negotiate. And I think management, when that came in, it was like, it's a no-brainer first of all, because I mean, you can do these deals that make you a lot of extra money, and the percentage that you transfer is really small. Especially, it's just like hiring help, and if it's people who believe in you, it's like hiring people who want your content to live, who are passionate about your content, and that's how my situation worked.
So for the other YouTubers out there that are aspiring to grow to a following like yours, what advice would you give them, and at what point would you tell them to start considering management?
I think it's about creating content around an actual passion, because if it's not, it is, I know people always talk about how hard it is, and it's such hard work to create content, to be an influencer type person in any way. And it's not that hard if you're really obsessed with it. It becomes really hard when you are just focused on the end goal, which is making money, because obviously there are people in the sphere who kill it now. I mean, it's like a really good profession. So I would just say find something that you think that excites you from the beginning, that you want to build towards. So for me, it was like, I want to build towards this kind of skate content. I knew it was gonna be a process, so the whole process was fun. It is a lot of work. I was working 15 hours a day plus, but I was just excited to do it. I'd wake up and be like, I wanna create that content because this is the idea. And for me, that's what worked out, but also tons of collaborations. At the beginning, I think the first year I did 100 collaborations or something like that. So finding people, like my talent, I guess, was skateboarding at the time. And there weren't a lot of people who were good at, like really good at skateboarding, working with these YouTube skateboarders as well. It was like two different industries. So all I did was offer my time, and I even created content for my friends. Like I would just make a video and say, take it. And I think that's one thing that a lot of people should do early on, is not think that all their content is super precious, right? Because it's gonna get better as you create. So for me, it was easy just to create at the beginning. And even if it took me 15 hours to make a piece, I would say, well, if I give this to a friend who has a bigger channel, that's gonna do better for me, and I can just create something better later for myself. So once my numbers were getting bigger, you just have to be selfless in that, or selfish, I guess, right? Selfless and selfish. But in terms of management, I would actually recommend it pretty early on. I think it's like, I have friends who didn't wait near as long as I did, who are much smaller. And I would say, I mean, in terms of just sheer numbers, I probably have friends who have let's just say 20,000 followers on Instagram, maybe 30,000 followers on YouTube, and they do amazing work with brands. And it also depends on the kind of content you make. If it's brand friendly right off the bat, if it's aesthetic and pretty, and you know that a brand could utilize what you're creating right now, then hit them up early and find management early to reach out to these brands and do work with you.
Okay. So I hear your passion coming through.
Yeah, I know. Sorry about that.
No, that's great. There are, I'm sure, some sponsored campaigns that you've worked on that you've been so proud of. Like they may have been like a natural fit, like the perfect fit, already something that we're using. Can you talk me through what those brands were and what those types of campaigns looked like?
So it's funny. I don't know why. First of all, I think working with Squarespace has been the easiest because they really, right now they're just catering towards creators in general. They basically say create what you want and implement us somewhere in your thing and talk about how you utilize us. And I've been using brands like that, like brands that teach or educational to me. I would talk about anyways. Like I would just be like, dude, you should check this out because I use it. So when a brand like that I'm already using hits me up, like Skillshare is a good example too. It's just teaching creative passions. And it works so well with what I'm all about, which is teaching creativity in general. Those brands work really well, and the whole work process is really simple because they just say, talk about us.
You talked about the analytics and the numbers. How focused are you on how each piece that you create performs? Does that become overwhelming and paralyzing at some time, or do you just give yourself once a quarter or some level of check-in point so you don't get too absorbed with it?
I think it depends on how long you do it.
Okay.
So at first, paralyzing. Absolutely paralyzing. Especially when you start seeing this freak incident growth, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be the most famous person in the world. And then all of a sudden your numbers stop or they decrease, and then you think, I just lost my job and I should probably go get my other job that I quit to do this. So in those incidences, it can be very paralyzing. But now, if you just stick with it, and I think if you understand early on that just because you see some crazy growth that happens in a week, that is not sustainable. You're never going to be the most famous person for all of eternity.
Right.
And be okay with that. And be okay with, keep in mind that you could lose everything that you've grown within a week. You could go back to zero. If you uploaded 10 bad videos in a row, you could go all the way down from 100,000 views to 1,000 views. But I think you have to be unemotional. That's it. I think it's just like business in the sense where you just have to see the problems. You have to deal with them as they come. And the more emotional you get about it, you're going to make more mistakes. And then you're also going to just try to keep up this thing. And a lot of people, listen to your audience to an extent, but not too much, because your audience will say, well, you used to create content like this that did really well. Why don't you go back to that? But you already did it. Even if they want that, a lot of times, even when you upload it, they say that, but they'll subconsciously go, I've already seen that. So you have to be the one who's constantly creating and innovating. And I think it's important to also innovate and create things that are going to keep you passionate. I know it sounds cheesy, but that passion goes much farther than thinking like, oh, I'm going to make more money if I do this way or this way, especially because usually having the mindset of just trying to make money and make numbers will put you down. That'll make your numbers go down and everything. That's not a sustainable way of doing YouTube. So I don't know if I answered your question or just said a million things around it.
No, you did. But we keep talking about the numbers, and actually the numbers are people, and you're engaging with people. What does that engagement look like to you, and how seriously do you take that? Like, what should your fans know about how you value them?
Yeah, that's such an interesting concept, because a lot of people will say that you completely just disregard the comments altogether. But what happens with me is there becomes like a consistent 30 or 40, I think, faces that you see a lot that kind of feel like they become more of like online friends. So to me, it's like this silly step-by-step program where like first you might watch a couple videos, but if I see you commenting all the time, like hit me up on a DM on Instagram. Let's talk, let's hang out, let's see what you're doing. And then for me, it is really important. Most of the people I meet who watch my content are exactly like me. And that's why they watch my content, because a lot of my content is very personal. So meeting people who are like me and have the same ambitions and passions, like I did yesterday here actually, somebody came up to me in a coffee shop and they were ecstatic and they were asking like, can I help you film and do this stuff? I was like, this dude is exactly like me. Like I would do the same thing, walk up and be like, if you need help filming, I'll do it tomorrow.
And so knowing your followers, and that a lot of them are just like you, and being able to describe them, there's so much value in that to advertisers who might want to work with you. And that's what we're seeing at Find Your Influence over the years is that a lot of brands are moving away from what we call traditional advertising. Maybe that's billboard, outdoor,
Right.
maybe that's television, because you can be more focused. And when John Hill can say, these are my followers, these are
Right.
who I engage with, that's where the real value
Absolutely.
is there.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy to see the whole idea. I know influencers sounds like a yucky word sometimes to some people, but the whole idea in general of just these people are literally following us for being us.
Yep.
Every advertisement you see, you've never seen like a commercial for a big brand and gone like, oh my gosh, I hope the best, you're not like cheering for the brand unless it's like a funny commercial. You're like, that's funny.
Yeah.
But content should always be, or advertising should always be creating content that gets people to notice the company, not just doing an advertisement.
Yeah.
It shouldn't just be, a script. It should be fun. It should be in a way to where they would watch it again and they would watch the whole advertisement. That's how it should be, I think. I think it should be an exchange of values in that sense.
Well, I don't want to keep you too long when you could be out there creating more content in Arizona today. So
Right.
thank you, John,
Of
so
course,
much.
of course.
And we'll ask everybody today to follow John on YouTube.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the Find Your Influence channel by clicking on the logo and the notification bell to receive updates on our latest videos.